In the building, subscribe to the channel. Let's go. Now, this video right here is like Tasha K. Tasha K going in on Houston, y'all. Tasha K is going in on Houston, showing that Houston is very sick, sexually for black people. So it's really bad. She brought this doctor on to talk about the nasty.
In terms of demographic, is it more black male? Is it more white male? Latina?
Figured you would ask. So I always come with the numbers. That's all I always. And so these numbers, let me tell you, what I will never do is go back and forth. We're gonna talk about the numbers and we're gonna leave where it's at.
Okay.
But these numbers here are from the Houston Health Department, okay? And these represent our 2021 numbers. And this is what I posted in my reel, and I actually posted this chart in and of itself. And then I have 2023 numbers for other STDs besides HIV. So let's talk about HIV because that's the big one, right? So we have about 35,000 reported cases of HIV in Houston, just Houston, okay. Harris County. Houston makes up the majority of Harris County. So we have other little small cities, Pearland, others little cities, but by and large, Houston makes up the majority. Of the 35,000, about 29,000 are still living, right? So that's that. So just 29,000 in Houston. That equates to, when you take our population, which is about 2.3 million, about 1 in 100, every 1 in 100 people have HIV/AIDS. Right. Damn. So I told one of my patients the other day, I said, look, so they were trying to grapple with the number because he had a positive HIV test. So we're kind of talking about it. He was like, trying to figure out how he got it. Not going to get into his storyline. But I said to him, I said, look, 1 in 100. So you've been to Chapman and Kirby on Sunday in Houston. He's like, hell yeah, I've been to Chapman and Kirby. I said, so Chapman and Kirby's capacity can hold about 600 people. So that means 6 people in there on average have HIV/AIDS. And if you've ever been to Houston and you know how tight Chapman and Kirby can get, that gives you a good number. 6 people in there by definition, if we use that number to equivocate. Mm-hmm. Now, in terms of our male female, because that's what you want to know, males make up about, of that 29K, males make up about 22K.
Oh,
they got some bad numbers out there. It's just black people are just being very loose.
Yeah. And when we make up the rest, that's the first thing. And then when we break it down by race, so our African Americans, those who identify black African American, make about 14K. That's men and women. 14K.
That's a big chunk.
That is a big chunk. That's more than half. And then followed by our Hispanic, which make up about 9.
Pay attention. 27,000 HIV reported positive, okay? 14K men and women in Houston. It's very dangerous. Tasha K is going after it.
Okay.
That's still big. Black and brown.
It is black and brown, unfortunately. It's going to make up the majority. Now, when you talk about age, in terms of just have it, right? Because the numbers are a little bit different for those who are newly diagnosed. But when we talk about people who have it, the distribution is even in terms of age. So we break it down by decade, 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s. And that's because of the use of HIV medication, right? So HIV medication prolongs life. So what we're seeing people live longer into their 50s, 60s, and 70s with HIV because there's medication. So it's an even distribution, if that makes sense. Okay. Like I said to you before, our highest transmission. So when we talk about and we ask, how did you contract HIV, 17,000 individuals of that 29 were from male to male transmission.
Damn.
Yeah. So that's where we're getting this demographic. So if you paint the picture, at least per these numbers from the Houston Health Department, our highest risk group is going to be
male to male transmission. Male to male transmission. Pay attention. And then, like I say, these girls, they mixing it up with them, kissing them, eating after
our
them.
20s and 30-year-old males who have sex with other males.
Jesus.
That's our highest risk by definition in these numbers.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. And you would think, like, with all the education that's out there, we would see a great reduction in it. But I guess this diabetes numbers ain't going down. This ain't going down no time soon either. Like, damn.
Yeah. They overall HIV rates in the nation, including Texas and Houston, have slowed, right? But comparatively, Houston to other major cities still is higher, right? If that makes sense. So overall,
Houston's like number 3.
Houston is high. Yo, Tasha K is going after Houston. My goodness.
Slowed, right? But comparatively, Houston to other major cities still is higher, right? If that makes sense. So overall,
Houston's like number 3, right?
The numbers fluctuate so much, right? So Houston, in terms of like Texas, at one point, they're always usually in the top 5. You'd be surprised what other cities are in the top 5. Like Austin, Dallas, Laredo, Texas is always in there for some reason. I don't know what they're doing at the border, but
I would have thought DC, New York, and Atlanta.
Well, no, I'm talking about just in
San Francisco. Okay, just in Texas. Okay, I got you.
These are Texas cities. Okay. But yeah, I mean, New York just because of sheer numbers. California always makes a list.
Houston is down
32 years old and 42, around 10 years ago. And they were saying that what they're seeing now with people that have, like, say first you got an HIV diagnosis in this person and that person, and they're both engaging in sex. Like, doctors are still recommending that you use protection, even if someone else has HIV and you're in a relationship together, because it could transmit into an irresistible version of HIV that medicine can't treat.
Absolutely. So all HIV is not the same, right? There are different strains, different viruses, some are more aggressive than others. And people are in different stages of HIV, right? So AIDS, like AIDS, for instance, is the final progression of HIV. So it's basically where your immune system can't come back. It's so compromised, right? So there's different stages. And so just because you have HIV and I have HIV just for, purposes, doesn't mean we have the same type, right? And HIV is a virus. It replicates. It can mutate. So if it comes in contact with a different version, it's going to take those pieces that it doesn't have and create a super infection or a super form of itself. And so,
and I saw that, and it was called super AIDS. It's not a super HIV.
Super infection, essentially.
Yeah.
And so, you still definitely want to use a condom, still want to be on medications, and do everything you can to, not transmit it as if you didn't have it. Even if I'm dating someone who has HIV as well, for sure.
Damn, this is really educational. See, it's just nice to have an expert here because, I do read a lot of science, a lot of medicine and stuff like that. Even though I'm not a doctor, I go to my doctor with shit. He's like, how did you know that? I'm like, I was just reading the medical journal. You know what I'm saying? I want to know what the hell.
So there you have it, family. Tasha K.'s going after Houston, showing that they're sick out there. If you're in Houston, be careful. Subscribe to the channel.